As we saw yesterday, pretty exciting game between the Utah Jazz and the Denver Nuggets. Came down to the wire, but Jamal Murray simply took over again for the second game. Actually, the third game this series, willed his team to a win to force it to game six. The night game, the later game between the Clippers and the Mavericks, wasn't as close as we saw a huge bounce back performance from Paul George. I told everybody just to stay away from that line, that over under. Paul George ended up being the leading scorer of the game. So that was one of the reasons why I didn't want to take the under. Wasn't sure about the over. Can't really predict what would happen with George in that game. The Clippers ended up getting the win. Now they lead that series 3-2. As the Jazz also lead 3-2 after their Game 5 loss. But today we're talking about different teams and different playoff matchups. Really excited. We could see some teams go down today, and those teams are the Orlando Magic and the Portland Trail Blazers. First game today is between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Orlando Magic. As I mentioned before, this is Game 5. After winning Game 1, the Magic have really struggled the past 3 games. And this is what everybody expected after the Magic won Game 1. We expected the Bucks and Giannis to simply take over in this series, and that's exactly what they've done with their superb defense. Middle game is the Rockets and the Thunder. This is the other, it's funny. I think about the Utah Jazz, the Denver Nuggets, and the Rockets Thunder series. Both of those series, nobody's talking about it at all. It seems like everybody's talking about the Lakers, everybody's talking about the Clippers and Mavericks, and I understand the hype around that. But those are the best series right now between these two, both, all 4 of those teams involved. The Thunder were down 2-0. That game went to overtime. They were at risk of going down 3-0 in that series. Ended up tying the game up. And now it's 2-2 apiece. We go to Game 5 now. It's going to be super exciting between those teams. Got some player props for that one coming up, especially with some Houston Rockets. And then, of course, the last game between the Lakers and the Blazers. Damian Lillard is out for this game. So that is huge implications on player props regarding other players on the Portland Trail Blazers. That's something I will get to in this show. But it's going to be very tough for Portland to come back now. Down 3-1, they have just been getting smacked around these past couple games. After winning the first game, which they didn't even really play well in, and it's been 3 straight wins for the Los Angeles Lakers. Playoff LeBron is here. He's here to stay. He is not leaving the bubble in the first round. That is not happening. So, there's some exciting things that happen today. We'll see what final punches the Magic and the Blazers can throw. Before we get to more of that, just want to remind everybody that promo code is Scalia, Scalia. If you guys want to go to betql.com, create an account for yourself to get the best sports betting data on the planet. You get 20% off by using my promo code Scalia. One more time, Scalia. And guys, you won't regret it because the playoffs are heating up. There is some big money on the line. Big bets and big-time players are showing up for their teams right now. So you definitely want to get involved. Definitely go to BetQL and use that promo code. With that being said, we'll jump into the first segment. Why not? And it is, why him? Going to go with Robert Covington here of the Houston Rockets. Saw this line of his 3-point field goals, and it was 1.5. So I really like the over on this line. This was on FanDuel, minus 215 odds. Now, guys, also, if you take a look at BetQL, BetQL has the Houston Rockets rated as A-plus starters grade and also an A-plus offense. We know this team shoots the most threes in the league. They shoot the most threes in NBA history for a team. It's unbelievable how many shots they take from downtown within a game, a series, a season. And Covington is another one of those guys. Big reason why they traded for him, why they got rid of Clint Capella and got him to figure out the small ball rotation that they have. And he is a guy that could hit shots from downtown. Now, the only problem is he isn't the most consistent player. But here's the thing with Covington. He has the volume. Last 3 games against the Oklahoma City Thunder, he has taken an average of 5 3-point shots per game. And he's made 4 last game against the Thunder. So that's the thing about Robert Covington. Probably not the most consistent player on the team. Obviously, you look at a guy like Harden, Westbrook, even Eric Gordon. But here's the thing. Covington's always going to keep firing. There's games I've seen him go 2 for 10. And even though, think about it, those are 8 misses from three-point land, but with a line like this, if he goes 2 for 10, that's fine for you. You only need 2 3-point field goals for him in this situation. And that's the thing, that's the part where I really picked him, because Covington is usually a player I tend to stay away from. He has burned me in the past for sure. But like I said, in regards to volume and in regards to the line that's set, he has hit 7 times in his past 3 games. That is averaging over 2 3-point field goals per game in this situation. And now it's game 5. So they got to step up big time. I think Covington will definitely get his opportunities. As you see, we see all the attention that Harden attracts. And Harden isn't shy to dish it out to a corner, a wing, in a situation like that. And Covington is comfortable shooting from those spots. So like I said, Robert Covington sometimes takes some heavily contested shots, but you got to respect it because shooters shoot. And if he keeps shooting, that volume's there. It's a good value bet to take care of. Like I said, guys, this was on FanDuel with odds of -215. That is probably one of my favorite bets of the day. Robert Covington over 1.5 3-point field goals. His line's usually set around 2.5, and that's why I usually actually take the under on that. The fact that it's 1.5 and the fact that he does take a lot of shots from downtown, I like him in this situation. With that being said, we're going to move on to nothing but the net. Nikolai Vucevic. Okay, I always have a problem pronouncing those last names. But in this situation, I like the over for his 38.5 points, rebounds, and assists for Vucevic. This is on FanDuel, -120 odds. So, like I said, Vucevic has been absolutely going off this series. Game 1, over 30 points. Last game, he had over 30 points again. He had over 30 points in Game 2, and he had 20 points in Game 3. So, basically, his floor for this series in a game is 20 points. So, that is huge for his points, rebounds, assist line. And you think about it, take a look at the rebounds as well. I see 14, 10, and 11 in 3 of those games. So that's the thing. If Vucevic could find a way to just score about 20, probably maybe 20 to 26 around there, with the 10 rebounds, you're throwing a couple assists. I think Vucevic is a great nothing but the net candidate for points, rebounds, and assists. And for some reason, we've seen the Bucks be a little sus defensively against Orlando Magic. And like I said, BetQL has the Bucks only have a B+ defensive grade for this matchup against the Orlando Magic. And like I said, been going off this season, been hitting from downtown, big-time points. Look, he's their #1 player on the team. They're always going to be looking to get this guy involved in certain spots. Now that it's Game 5, this is an elimination game for them. They have to come up big time in this situation. He's going to be the guy they give the ball to many times. And like I said, again, the rebounds are so big. The fact that he's had double-digit rebounds in 3 of those games against Giannis, pretty tough stuff from Vucevic. You got to give him credit for what he's doing on the court. And yeah, no, I really do like him in this spot. Like I said, win or go home. Vucevic has to come up big. He's their best scoring offensive player. He gets all the rebounds for them. And sometimes if he gets a rebound in a crowded spot, dish it out to a three-point shooter, and he can hit that shot. Boom, there's a couple assists for you in that situation. I really did expect a bigger line for him in this spot. But for now, 38.5, I like that a lot. This is on FanDuel, -120 odds. There's going to be a lot of FanDuel bets on here, guys. I think this show covers pretty much all FanDuel bets, so be expected to see some more as we move along. Talking about moving along, we're actually going to stay with nothing but the net, and that gets us to Jusuf Nurkic. And Nurkic coming off a pretty good performance against the Los Angeles Lakers. Although the team struggled mightily, Nurkic came up pretty big time, 7 for 10 from the field with 20 points in that matchup against the Los Angeles Lakers. And don't get me wrong, he has had his struggles in this series. Game 2 and Game 3, only 9 and 10 points. But obviously, as we saw in Game 4, that big bounce-back performance, that's the confidence we need. And the biggest reason why I'm really picking Jusuf Nurkic over 17.5 points on FanDuel, -108 odds, the biggest reason is because obviously Damian Lillard is out for Game 5. So that means more opportunities will open up for Nurkic. He'll be more of a focus. You'll see less shots coming from the, think about all the threes we see from Damian Lillard coming from downtown in different situations in the game. that presence isn't going to be there on the court. Although CJ McCollum can definitely work his way to the rim, shoot from the perimeter, I think Nurkic could end up being a bigger focus within this game. Definitely, as Lillard is out, that's their best offensive player. They're down right now, and they could rely on Nurkic a lot in this situation. Now, obviously, a tough matchup with AD on the court, but like I said, I like the volume there in that situation. Just coming off a big game in Game 4, found some success, so maybe you'll be able to ride that wave into Game 5 to still come up with some pretty big points. So, also he's great at drawing fouls, definitely under the rim. And like I said, although he had 9-10, we've seen point increases in his past 2 games. So Yusuf Nurkic, although not the number one person you're thinking for nothing but the net, I'm pretty confident in his volume in order to get these points for himself today. And even if it's a blowout, Nurkic could still find a way to finish with over 17.5 points for FanDuel. So I like that a lot. I like Yusuf Nurkic. Could be his last game of the season. It'll be very sad to see the Portland Trailblazers go. They were a great team on a great run, but obviously stumbled along the way in the first round to the Los Angeles Lakers. But with that being said, still like Nurkic. I think he'll have the volume enough to finish with over 17 points. With that being said, going to move on to bounce back ballers. And the bounce back baller for today is Jeff Green of the Houston Rockets. Really loved his line of 21.5 points, rebounds, and assists. This one's also on FanDuel, guys, minus 113 odds. And Jeff Green, this is a guy that's actually been killing the Oklahoma City Thunder. A lot of people haven't really seen how well he's been performing. Game 1, 22, Game 2, 15, and another 22 performance in Game 3. He slowed down a little last game with 10 points, which is why he's earned himself a spot on the bounce back ballers list. It seems that no one can really find a way match up well enough on Green in this series, and we've seen that in Game 1 and Game 2. But the thing I do like about Jeff Green and this line, usually I would go with his over 3-point, that line. It's usually set at 1.5. Usually go with something like that. He hit that last game. His first 2 shots went in 2 for 2. Was cold after that, though. Only finished with 4 points after that, giving him a total of 10 points, as I said before. But the thing I like about Green in this spot, rebounds are pretty big for him. His last 3 games, actually his last 4 games, he's had 6, 7, 7 again, and then 5 rebounds. Those are big-time points in that situation. And with a line of 21.5 for points, rebounds, assists, obviously, like I've said many times before, this is my favorite line to bet on. Look, even if the guy isn't scoring as much as he needs to, say he finishes with about 13 points in that situation, the rebounds and assists, definitely the rebounds could find a way to put himself in position to get himself over that line. And like I said, he's been shredding them from downtown this season, in the middle of this series against the Oklahoma City Thunder. And he just needs to get some more points to back it up in this pivotal Game 5. Look, Green is a savvy veteran. He'll find a way to bounce back in this game, and we've seen how well he's played for the Houston Rockets down the stretch. He's been a great player off the bench. Like I said before about Covington, the Houston Rockets have an A-plus starters grade, A-plus offense grade, and I think they'll be able to take advantage of some opportunities against OKC. Now, not sure if that'll be enough to win the game because these teams are very evenly matched. But like I said, I like Jeff Green in this situation. Over 21.5 points, rebounds, assists. I think he'll bounce back in a big way for the Rockets. Before I continue the show, guys, just want to remind everybody you're listening to Pick and Pop Player Props. I'm your host, Jimmy Scalia. So excited for today's slate of NBA playoff games. And like I said, this is definitely, the Rockets Thunder is definitely the series I'm looking forward to the most. Just so much drama that's been happening in that series. We saw the frustration from Harden coming off at, it was probably a winnable game. He played great in it, but the Thunder ended up taking it. Dennis Schroeder coming up big time, hitting some big shots from downtown. Really like to see that performance from him off the bench. He had a great game altogether. Steven Adams also bounced back, and Chris Paul is a great leader for that team. But again, guys, just want to let you know, Obviously sponsored by BetQL. Just want to thank them for giving me this platform to do this show. Promo code is Scalia, Scalia. If you guys want to sign up to a BetQL account, you get 20% off and the best sports betting data on the planet. With that being said, going to move on to the next segment, which is feeling risky. And I do like to attack this category a lot. The top point scorer of the game, the odds end up sometimes being in the biggest favor for some opponents. And here we have Chris Middleton of the Milwaukee Bucks. That's right. I'm saying that there's going to be a top point scorer ahead of Giannis in this situation. Maybe a little disrespect on Giannis's part, but this is the thing about Chris Middleton. Game 4 started very cold, but wow, he finished 4 of 7 from 3 in that game. He came up big time down the stretch. I know that because I had a bet for him to hit a certain amount of 3-pointers in that spot. But like I said, Middleton, wow, Game 3 had a very woeful performance. 2 points. That was actually Game 2 that they won. He only had 2 points, 1 for 8. Game 3 bounced back with 17 points. Game 4 followed up with 21. So you see the trend right now. I think Middleton's finally finding a way to settle in. Everybody remembers how poorly he played in the playoffs last year, and I think it means a lot to him to perform big on this stage in Game 5 to close out the series, to send the Magic home and out of the bubble. So, like I said in this situation, BetQL has the Bucks listed as an A-plus offensive grade. I like that for them a lot. And even if the game is a blowout, think about it. The Bucks' main concern is going to be getting Giannis out of that game, number 1, okay? So that could leave room for Middleton to exercise some more points at the end of the game because those last minutes of the game could be very important for Middleton down the stretch. But like I said, he started Game 4 pretty poorly, finished the game 7 of 19. Not terrible because he started the game about 0 for 5. Middleton found his rhythm. I think he'll be able to ride that into Game 5, and make something of it. The only problem, and this is why it's feeling risky, and I just want to remind everybody, this is on FanDuel plus 800 odds. Another problem with that is he has to outduel Giannis and Vucevic, so that'll be a tough slate for Middleton, but if he could keep the scoring going, if he could find his lanes, and if he could definitely hit his shots from downtown, that's going to be the biggest one because he's going to take those shots from downtown. It doesn't matter if he hits them or not. I like him in this situation as a risky bet to be the top point scorer of the game for the Milwaukee Bucks and the Orlando Magic. So like I said, consistency has been going up in this series, so I like Middleton in this spot. Moving on to keep an eye on, we're going to stay in Milwaukee. And yes, even though I just did disrespect Giannis, I'm coming back to him right now, and I'm going to take over 1.5 3-point field goals. This is on FanDuel plus 114 odds. Biggest reason I got this one, you see the plus down there. Better odds for yourself to lay some money and get some extra cash out. Okay, so Giannis in this situation, he takes about 5 to 7 3-point shots per game within this series against Orlando Magic. Like I said, Game 5, going to be looking to close this out. And this is the thing with Giannis against the Orlando Magic in this game. After each game, after he didn't get 2 3-pointers, he got them the next game. Now, last game, he's coming off one where he was 1 for 5. Volume still there, kind of bit. Obviously, we saw that one shot where the buzzer sounded off. He didn't get it off in time, and he chucked it up from half court, and it went in. So, although Giannis's form isn't the best, I think that he can deliver 2 of those shots from downtown. And like I said, following a trend here, Game 1 he didn't get it. Then Game 2 he got 2. Game 3 didn't get a Game 4. So this is the thing. I think Game 5. Coming off one where he didn't get 2 3-pointers, I think he could find a way to rise above and get those big-time shots for you. And he's playing against a Magic defense that's gotten absolutely shredded these past 3 games. He has been going off. And, I think those shots from downtown, he'll always have those opportunities because defenders give him all the space in the world. Now, that's disrespectful. Me choosing Chris Middleton as a top point scorer isn't as disrespectful as defenders giving him that much space. So let's all root for Giannis to knock down those big-time shots in those big-time situations. Again, that is on FanDuel plus 114 odds. Guys, with that being said, I'm going to move on to the last segment under the backboard. And I'm sorry, CJ McCollum, but you made it on the list this day around. So I've taken a look at his points, rebounds, assist line. It's at 37.5. And something that scares me, look, I understand the volume's going to be there with Damian Lillard out, but he is still going up against an A-plus defense in the Los Angeles Lakers. He has struggled in this series a lot. A lot of games, hasn't been shooting that great. He's had a 5 for 13, 6 for 16, 12 for 25 performances. Not the best. Even game one, he scored 21, but he only went 8 for 20, shooting below 50% of his shots. So, CJ McCollum, I'm not sure if he'll be able to go up to the line that's set for him on FanDuel right now, minus 115 odds. Obviously, like I said, he'll have more opportunities, but this is the thing. Rebounds and assists really aren't McCollum's game. Damian Lillard's a great passer, but I'm not sure McCollum will be able to replicate that with Lillard out of the lineup in this situation. So if you think about it, 37.5, I think that's a super high line. He's going to have about, I'd say like 28, 29 points in that spot. So you need him to have a huge game already, and then you need the rebounds and assists to get him over the edge of that line that's set for him. And like I said, rebounds and assists are kind of a non-factor for McCollum, within his play within this series. Like I said, game one, you look at it, he had 0 assists. Last game only had 2 assists, 5 rebounds, though. The rebounds are a little up there. Like I said, you still have to go off in this performance against a great Lakers defense. Now, also think about it this way. A high line like this, is this game really going to be competitive? It's more likely than not that the Lakers will simply dominate this game from start to finish. If things work in his, flow in their direction, if they make it competitive, that's good for McCollum. But like I said, more likely than not that the Lakers really take over, and guess what? Fourth quarter, he gets taken out of the game, and that's it. It doesn't matter. They don't want him hurt for next season. They don't want to take that chance. And by taking him out and, 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter, those are huge minutes for your over to hit on this line. So like I said, CJ McCollum, great player. Not sure if he played up to his standards within this series against the Lakers, obviously coming off that bad back injury that he still has. It's a fracture in his lower back. But I'm going to have to take the under on this category for CJ McCollum because of the A-plus defense from the Lakers, because of how good the Lakers are playing, and that could equal less minutes for McCollum. And I'm not sure if he'll be able to reach the point total that he needs to hit his line. So, guys, just want to thank everybody for tuning in today. You've been listening to Pick and Pop Player Props. I'm your host, Jimmy Scalia. So excited to be on the show. And, guys, tomorrow is going to be a great one, too. Can't wait to get those games back going. We got the Jazz and the Nuggets again tomorrow. Really excited for that. And we'll see if the Clippers and Mavericks could close it out. Celtics, Raptors, don't forget about that one either. That is going to be a series for the ages. I can't wait to delve into that one, guys. So I just want to thank everybody for tuning in again. Remind you one more time, promo code Scalia, SCALIA. You get 20% off a BetQL account to get the best sports betting data on the planet. Just want to thank everybody for listening again, and I'll see you guys tomorrow at 2 p.m.